Story 1. Someone has been trying to use my email address for years.
I've had my email address since the early days of Gmail, and for the longest time there's someone out there who has been using it, trying, for all sorts of things. I've gotten gestation updates, financial aid notifications, volunteer schedules, job interview offers, and so many password reset attempts for other services. This person signed up for a streaming service. I changed the password and they auto-paid for 6 months before fixing it. I scheduled that job interview, then rescheduled it. Recently I got a payroll account setup email for a new job, I guess. I set up the account, later got the email that the email for the account had been changed. They signed up for a Starbucks account. I don't go to Starbucks. I got the happy birthday email from Starbucks yesterday. It's not my birthday. So now I'm drinking my free $9 macadamia something or other cold brew. I'd tell them directly to stop using my account, but I don't know their email address. ETA I have made reasonable attempts to respond to personal emails telling people that I wasn't the person they were trying to reach, and even tried to pass along the message to please for the love of all that is good in the world to stop, and I gave up after about 5 years of trying. At one point I also reached out to everyone on social media with the same name and still, it continues. I have given up on trying and I will continue changing the passwords to every account they create with my email address until they stop using it. I'm just glad I haven't gotten any more dick pics in a few years.
Comment 1. I had a similar situation a few years back. After some research, I learned that a lawyer in South Carolina and I had the same name. I called his office and left a message asking him to stop giving out my email address.
No dice.
He finally quit when I started canceling boat reservations, tennis club memberships, and whatnot. Comment 2. Once I got 25,000 miles from a woman that shares the same name as me. She traveled to overseas, but on her way back she booked business class. She used my email again for reclaiming miles, but I already have an ACC with that email, so I got them instead of her. I guess that's what happened. I then traveled 4 times, almost, for free around Europe. Comment 3. I had this happen before. I use first initial last name at Gmail. Person has the same last name as me, not the same first name, and not the same gender either. I got flight itineraries, legal docs, DR stuff. I had found him and told him the issue and he said he'd fix it. I even called the lawyer's office to tell them. I refused to forward the guy the docs I received, and did the canceling thing. Nothing seemed to take. You know when it finally stopped? When I received a "hey, before the reunion we should all play golf and drink" group email that I had a very nice conversation with the guy who had arranged that, letting him know I wasn't his friend. The weekend sounded like a lot of fun, but he should probably tell his friend to stop being an idiot and use the correct email. I suspect the group all gave him a hard enough time where he finally stopped it. Comment 4. I have this IM in Australia and my email nemesis is in the USA. I have all his information from account info he's set up with my email address, including his phone number. I rang him once and he argued with me saying it was his email address and always had been. My response of "so why am I getting all the emails then and you don't see them?" fell on deaf ears. He's still using it, and I'm still canceling his accounts including appliance rentals and car purchases. I even called the HR department at the place he was working and had them coach him through setting up another address to get his pay slips to. It did no good.
Comment 5. I'm waiting for someone to post into FO that they have accidentally misspelled their email for years probably and lost interviews, appointments, and Starbucks reward. Comment 6. I had someone use my phone number to get updates on their Temu order. I was able to use the link in the text to find her actual email and asked her to fix it cause it's annoying. I can't block them cause they come from randomly generated 5-digit numbers, not a single actual phone number. She didn't. So the next time I got one I went back in and found her name and delivery address, which was a residence. I wrote and mailed her a physical letter saying fix this shit and haven't had an issue since. Pretty sure I scared her. Good. She has terrible taste.
Story 2. A customer abused our support staff, so I let her know that she wasn't as anonymous as she thought she was.
Several years ago, I worked the late shift as an online customer support agent for a women's clothing company. The other CSAs and I were constantly mistreated by crappy customers, and our managers did absolutely nothing to support us. The company valued its customers so much that the rules for dealing with them were disgustingly lax. For example, this one guy would call and obviously masturbating, but we weren't allowed to hang up on him because he never actually said he was. We had a 3-strike policy where a customer could say pretty much anything they wanted to 3 times before they were disconnected and banned. But we also had a 1-day turnover policy where if a customer was cut off for inappropriate behavior, the ban was reset the next day. So someone could come in, tell you that you're a bitch 3 times, get kicked off, and then come and do it again the next day. The entire time I worked there, I never saw a single person get permanently banned. Not even the masturbating guy. I eventually ended up quitting specifically because a customer harassed me to the point of me crying, and my manager's response was that I could have an unpaid 10-minute break now instead of my 15-minute break later. Yeah. One of the worst customers was this woman we'll call Kathy. This woman would enter our CSA chats around midnight, drunk, she admitted to this. She would ask questions like, "What jeans do you think go with this top?" While the CSA answered, Kathy would say things like, "Wow, this is taking so long. Imagine working a minimum wage job at midnight. Bet you want to kill yourself." Warning 1. The next time, it would get a little worse. "Wow, you're such a loser. Have you ever thought about killing yourself? I would if I was you." Warning 2. The last time each night, it would be something like, "I hope you die. You're so sad. You should kill yourself." At that point, we'd let her know we could no longer help her, and we'd disconnect her. And then she'd pop back and chat within a few days and the whole thing would start over. She always said the same kinds of things. She clearly knew she could say 3 separate terrible things to us. Our managers never helped or stepped in. I once looked this woman up. I wanted to know who she was. To my surprise, I found out that she was a therapist. She had her own practice. I was baffled. What she did was a horrible, cruel, unkind thing. I couldn't believe a therapist would do this. I later quit working at the company. I waited a few weeks. And then I made a phone call to Kathy's practice. I spoke to Kathy. I told her I was seeking therapy. During our intake call, she asked me what kind of issues I was facing. Well, I said, I do this really weird, psychotic thing a few nights a week. I get really drunk, and I start a chat with minimum wage customer support agents and I tell them multiple times that they should kill themselves. That's so freaking crazy, right? She made a tiny noise. A moment passed. The call disconnected. My friends at the company said that she never messaged them again.
Comment 1. You should have anonymously posted that on her Yelp page as well. Comment 2. In all honesty, that would be a valid ethics complaint to both her State Board of Ethics and her licensing board. Comment 3. As someone who has worked similar jobs, I love you for this. Comment 4. Apparently she only had a 1-strike policy.
Comment 5, love this. It's amazing what people are capable of when they are anonymous. I can imagine her heart skipping a beat and the feeling of dread when she realized she could be publicly exposed. Damn shame you didn't send her the chat logs, lol.
Comment 6. Good, but this could have been nuclear revenge if you had reported her to the licensing board because she would have lost her license and deservedly so.
Story 3. You want to push in? Everyone else gets free coffee.
This happened early last week. Things at work had been going really well recently, and in my latest review I was given a bonus. So I decided to pay it forward while I visited my local cafe and pay for the order of the people behind me in line. There were 3 people behind me. The cashier steps aside for a moment just as a woman walks in and jumped to the head of the queue, completely ignoring all of us. I say to her, "Excuse me, you missed the line." She looked at me as if I'd spat on her and said my car is running, I'm working, I have to go first. I'm very non-confrontational, so I just roll my eyes and leave it. She pays for her order and stands to the side waiting for her drink. That's when I remember that I was going to pay it forward. As I got to the cashier, I loudly said hi, I'd like to pay it forward and get everyone's drinks, looked over at the lady and emphasized my last words who is behind me in line. She went very red in the face, but said nothing as I stood by the register and tapped my card for each person in line. The best thing was that the cashier seemed to have known she jumped the queue, because the woman's drink came out at the same time as the people who had been at the back of the line.
Comment 1. Baristas know. Trust me, they know. They can be the greatest or the prettiest persons on the face of the earth. Never piss one off, you will be drinking decaf and not even know it. Love my baristas, they are to a one great at what they do.
Comment 2. Nicely done, both by you and by the barista.
Comment 3. The silent justice behind the agreement with the baristas is beautiful. May I ask, was she also of a boomer age? Asking for research.
Comment 4. Beautiful. Comment 5. She sounds like a typical Karen. How sad, but shout out to you. Comment 6. Bigger question is why did they even let her order? I would have taken all the other people's order, remembering who she came in behind, then hers.